Alright guys, so it's a bit of a sad one today. Unfortunately, I've been spoken to by the powers that be. Yeah, Mr. Hodgson has just said, Mr. Hollins, we can't have this anymore, it's just too distracting. Sadly, he doesn't see the educational value in this.
What's going on? Doctor? I'm done. Cut the show. I'm done. Take me.
Just really disappointed because, I thought I was just creating these fun videos where we were having a laugh, learning at the same time, but he's just said no. And with that, then sponsors just pulled out. Kmart, ING, which was like my original one. I never thought they'd leave me. They did. And then the one that hurt was Chobani. I thought they were going to be there to the very end helping me. So, it's sad. And even Camelback, they said, we want our water bottle back. And I'm just like, well, I'm already using it. Why? Is that bad luck? So unfortunately, it's the end of the channel.
No, 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 no!
It hurts, it sucks, but I guess something's gotta end. Not everything lasts forever. So it's been a fun ride, but I've been told to shut this down. April Fools, sucker. Okay.
Woo! What's up with it, mother? What's up, baby? Did you miss me?
Kmart still with me. Chobani still with me. Camelback, they're still with me. I'm staying hydrated always. And I've got a huge new announcement here, guys. New sponsor to the program, Rokeby. Alright, the protein smoothies. These are keeping me fueled. Love one of these after a long run. They are beautiful. Okay, so yes, we are going to get into my progress check. All right, I'm going to teach you all about what a progress check should look like. We've already done one, so we're getting into our second one, and I'll show you what my second one looks like too. Exciting times ahead. Am I right? All right, so let's get into this quickly. All right, let's get down to business because I'm back, baby. Okay, so let's get into my progress check. Now, this whole video is going to be my progress check. I'm going to be explaining what I've been doing. I'm going to chuck up some images around here just of what I've been doing. So let's get into it. So firstly, obviously, we know my learning goal is to run a marathon. The reason why I chose that, I always admire people who can be able to push themselves physically and mentally to that limit. And it's always been something that I've looked at doing and thought, I don't think I could ever do it. So I thought, you know what, stuff it, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to fool around and find out. And I'm finding out a lot in this process and I'm enjoying it. So firstly, my time and resource management. So to do that, some things that I did, I created a weekly schedule. So I included like the days I'm going to have my long runs, my recovery runs, and just my rest days. I put that in perspective. I've also got a whiteboard at home where I've just got like my run, and then I've got a couple circles, like 3 or 4 circles, depending on how many runs I'm doing that week. And I tick it off as I go. It's a good reminder for my wife as well to say, hey, you got to get working because you're a bit lazy this week. You've only done 2 runs and it's a Friday and we've got 3 days left in the week. That also kind of helped me balance my school work. Obviously, big commitment is my work, but then also my personal commitments. So like how I commit myself with my friendships, how I commit myself with my relationship, obviously with my wife, to make sure I'm not just focusing on my running goal. But then also like make sure I'm still having that me time, having that time to do the things I do enjoy. And then some of the resources that I've managed, so I've used Strava a lot. That's the main resource, just to track my distance and progress and pace as well. I also planned my long weekends on my long runs, so the ones that I've progressed hour by hour, on my weekend. So I've made sure that I haven't done them during the weekdays where I'll be really cramped for time and or have to be getting up really early. One thing that I've done with my resources as well is to organize all the things that I need for my long run. So my shoes, my hydration, my gels, all the night before, so it's out there ready to go before I go out there. But then also I've had to make some adjustments as I go to my schedule based on like fatigue. If I'm feeling really flat or really exhausted, there have been times where I just haven't felt like going for a run, and that's just a challenge that I've had to manage. But also like weather. Sometimes I wake up and it's pouring down with rain, and I have to just either see it out, and hopefully in the afternoon it's going to be better. And if it's not, then I've got to run in the rain. But I've been pretty lucky with that so far. But then also just other commitments, like life's commitments that come in the way, whether it have like doctor's appointments, things like that, work commitments, just juggling those as well, just making the adjustments where needed. Some risks that I've had to respond to. So the big one obviously is just that injury and fatigue, and that burnout too. So, things that I've done is I've included those rest days to make sure that I am not putting myself at risk of injury. I've also included some rest days in there to make sure that I'm giving my chance for my body just to relax, calm down. But then also something that I've done to reduce that fatigue and that injury is that gradual increase, okay? Progressive overload for all the Year 12 PE students out there. Just make sure I progressively increase my load to make sure that I'm not, just going from 0 to 100, going to 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on and so forth. And we're getting to that 100 point. But then I've also adjusted my training when I'm feeling that excessive pain or fatigue. So, for example, like my neck injury that I had right at the start, I had to adjust my my schedule based on that pain that I was feeling, and I had to reduce how much I was running. But then obviously I've also managed my hydration as well when it's been really hot. Obviously some of my runs have been during summer. So when it's really warm, I need to intake more water to make sure I don't risk getting dehydrated. So I've had to manage that, obviously. Some key decisions. So I initially was having the thought of, could I just break the 5-hour marathon barrier? But I guess conversations with other people kind of helped me to set a realistic goal based off of my current fitness level. So I'm aiming for that 5-hour to 5.5 hour mark for the marathon. And one thing that I've really focused on is just building that endurance. So the key decision was to focus on building endurance over that speed. I'm not fussed about doing this marathon as quickly as possible. I'm focused on finishing the marathon.
That day, for no particular reason, I decided to go for a little run.
Strategies, so different types of fuel when I'm running on those long runs, just to make sure I'm practicing that. I'm not having any gut issues. I can rule out things that aren't working for me, so I'm not experiencing those problems on race day. And then obviously just adjusted my training, as I've said before, intensity and the load depending on how my body's responding. And then I guess one judgment that I've had to make is like, sometimes if I'm not feeling the best, am I feeling sore, or am I not able to work at a certain rate, or am I able to? Is it more so just a mental challenge for me to get out and get running? So for me, it's just sometimes I have to make those key decisions. Where is it a rest day, or is it like, get off your ass, get your shoes on, and let's get running?
Come on, me, son. Get it. 19. Come on, me, son. Yeah. 20. You got some more in you. 22. Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
Too many times where I've just like really sat there and like got down in the dumps about it. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Then some long distance runs. So for my strategies, long distance runs were really, really effective in building that endurance. I found that to be helpful. What I'm learning from that is that I'm actually kind of getting a lot better and a lot more comfortable with those long runs. And I'm trying to introduce some new strategies within my long runs to make them more engaging, because I kind of found that they just didn't really, like, they were just like, all right, go run for 3 hours. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to break them up. So the first hour is at like a light pace, the second hour is at my marathon pace, third hour is back down to that light cruisy pace. So some strategies as well, so those, including those recovery days, they have improved my performance, especially to make sure I don't run the day before a long run. If I did that, I'd be really sore and really fatigued. That long run would be really painful. Using the tracking apps really helped me to monitor my progress and consistency. I really liked going back in time and seeing like how far I was running back in the day. So it's really cool for me to see that progress, and also monitor how much I'm improving with like my average heart rate, my pace and things like that. Even on my like more tempo runs, they're definitely improving. maybe some strategies that didn't work was maybe I was pushing myself too hard too early. I felt like I needed to go for these runs and needed to be running at, you know, a sub 7 pace, but I need to remember, like, I actually can't do that for extended periods of times. Like the first time I ran a half marathon was that ego run. It was like I ran in under 2.5 hours, which was like quite an achievement for me. But in terms of my training, that's not what I needed to do. Also, I really feel like my fueling during those long runs has improved. I've started to work out the kind of niche little bits, what doesn't work with me, what does. Kind of found that every half an hour mark also helps as like a bit of like a checkpoint. Like, okay, you've made it through half an hour. Here's like, let's reset, let's refuel, let's get through the next half an hour. So some perspectives that I've got. So, as you know, I spoke to the master of marathons, and he really emphasized that importance of that time on the feet. Just gradually improving that with my steady and slow long runs. I found like them to be really helpful. So shout out to the master of marathons, thank you for that. But then I also saw some perspectives from like the online training programs, and they highlighted that need for gradual progression and that rest. I spoke to Mr. Peter as well about my original goal time being that sub 5 hour mark, even in that 4.5 hour mark. And he just kind of said like, maybe that's a little bit too ambitious. And that led to me adjusting my goal time. Then obviously Mr. Johnson gave me some great feedback on my training program too, which I appreciated so much, because again, I wanted to design my own program. It was something that I really wanted to do to make sure like I owned it. It was what I did. I kind of suited it to me. So yeah, it was, you know, getting that feedback from Mr. Johnson was really valuable, and I appreciate him for that. One thing as well was like my own personal perspective. You know, at the start I was looking like I've got to go like train really hard every day, and I didn't really value that recovery, like taking that time off, you know, doing some stretching on off days, going for like a slow walk just to let the body kind of get back to normality a little bit after like a really long run. And that's something that I'm like really focusing on in this last few weeks of my training program. So, you know, that feedback from those people really helped my overall training plan, but also my overall approach to the marathon. And I'm really looking forward to what's next. You know, the next few weeks. I'm 4 weeks out currently from my marathon. And I'm feeling really confident, but also still respecting the fact that I've got a lot of work to do. These next 2 weeks aren't going to be easy weeks. They're going to be tough ones. So the next steps is just continuing to build that increasing long run distance gradually. So, you know, I've got a 3-hour run split into then afterwards an hour and 15-minute run in the afternoons. So that's going to be a tough one. You know, and I've got one more long run after that to do, where I'm going to be getting in around about 4.5 hours in a day. So that's going to be a really big challenge. You know, I think I'm going to also focus on improving my pacing strategy. So like I said, I've just started doing those long runs where I break it up. So for like, you know, 1 hour, I'm doing it at this like a slow and steady pace. Next hour, I'm doing it at my marathon pace. The next hour, back down to that slow and steady pace. So I'm going to look at how I can improve that. I'm also going to try to do some like visualization, but also like some like routine work where it's helping me mentally prepare for the marathon. So, you know, on Sundays, I'm making that my long run day now. I'm getting up at the time that I would need to, and I'm starting at the time that I would need to for my marathon. My next step as well is to really understand carb loading. That's where I need to really focus on, because that's going to be really valuable on race day, because, you know, Mr. Johnson kind of flagged that early on. Conversation with Mr. Peter and Mr. Randa, they flagged that too. Like, you're going to actually need to seriously carb load and look into like what that looks like, and build a bit of an eating plan basically for that day or those days leading up to it. And then, you know, that injury prevention, especially when I'm going into that taper period, which is in 2 weeks' time. Just looking at that, you know, just keeping the body moving, decreasing the training load. How much do I need to decrease it by? But then also looking at like, okay, who can I go see to get some recovery done? Like, can I go see like a sports massage therapist, like, and get like a remedial massage, or could I go to somewhere like you know, a gym where they offer like ice baths and stuff like that? Can I use that? Will that be of any benefit to me? And then, yeah, I guess like reflect regularly. That's the next steps. Continue that reflection, because I'm always learning about different things, and reflect on my progress and my performance, because that's really important. So that's my progress check. They're all the different things that I've been doing. Hopefully, you know, you've had a chance to look around, pause, So that's my progress check. And that is all for today's video, guys. Just when you thought I was dead. Haha, April Fools, suckers. Alright, I am back. I will never be gone. They can't bring this train to a halt. Alright, it's never ending. We'll always be here, firing out content weekly. So enjoy, and enjoy my progress check.